Real veteran journalist interviewing Amy Winehouse.
You've blended jazz, soul, and reggae in your own unique way and layered on lyrics about deep pain and loneliness. Tell us, how did Amy's journey take shape? I'd love to hear it from you.
I was never the planned type. Jazz was always in the house when I was a kid, my dad singing Sinatra, my mom listening to other things. Music always felt mixed to me. It never fitted into one box. So I just took everything in and sang how it felt inside me. I won't hide it. My pain, my loneliness, my mistake, they lived at the heart of my songs. I wasn't someone who dressed things up on stage. I said whatever I was living. One day I'd sit with a broken heart and write. The next I'd put that anger into the strings of a guitar. My journey was really a fight between two things. My soul wanted to be free in music, but the emptiness inside kept chaining me. Maybe that's why my voice reached people. I wasn't pretending, I wasn't hiding. In short, my journey wasn't about fame or money. It was about surviving. And the language I knew best was music.
You became one of the last members of the 27 Club, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, and others. Is there really a cursed link between drugs and creativity? What does it mean that so many of these great artists burned out like short-lived comets?
The 27 Club, curse or destiny, I don't know. But I do know this. We all felt things so deeply, too deeply. The weight of life, the pain of love, the cold of loneliness. Things that would sit on a normal person's shoulder we carried in our chests. And we poured it into music. But feeling that intensely sometimes feeds you and sometimes destroys you. Drugs, alcohol, they were escape routes. When the stage lights went out and the crowd dispersed, there was that hollow that needed filling. And most of us looked in the wrong places. Janis screamed her soul. Kurt poured his darkness into song. I sang about love and loss. We were comets because that fire inside us burned so fast. We never learned how to burn slowly. What does it mean? Maybe the world is telling us great art sometimes demands a price. But I wish that price hadn't been our lives.
Let's talk about the albums a bit. On Frank, in the song Stronger Than Me, you took a pretty ironic stance on gender roles. Looking back now, how do you see that challenge you made at such a young age?
The Frank era. I was just 19. I was full of reckless courage against the world. Stronger Than Me was exactly that, calling men out saying, come on, be strong for once. That's how I saw love, relationships, and role-playing back then. Naive, but also brutally honest. Looking back today, yes, I hear the recklessness of youth in that song. But I'm still proud, because even then I was speaking in my own voice. I was pushing back against society's boxes for men and women. Maybe as life went on, love tired me out more, hurt me more. But Stronger Than Me always reminded me, from the very beginning, I never bowed. Not to love, not to men, not even to life itself. That song was young Amy's scream. And sometimes I wonder, I wish I could have always protected that brave young girl.
On that album, your voice was very jazz-based, almost a purer Amy. What do you think was the biggest difference between Amy of the Frank era and Amy of the Back to Black era?
Amy and Frank, she was raw, she was pure. My voice was fed by jazz, by the songs I grew up hearing at home. Even love felt like a game. I sang it with a playful irony. I teased men, I challenged myself. There was still this childish rebellion in me. But in Back to Black, I wasn't a child anymore. Love had burned me. Losses weighed heavy in my chest. My voice was still rooted in jazz, but now it carried the dark depth of soul. My songs weren't born from irony anymore. They bled straight out of my heart. Amy and Frank was defiant against life. Amy in Back to Black was bruised by it. In one, I was the girl dancing on stage. In the other, I was the woman putting out her cigarette with tears in her eyes. They were both me. But the biggest difference is this. In Frank, I was testing life. In Back to Black, life was testing me.
We've come to my favorite album, Back to Black. The song Love is a Losing Game carries such a raw sense of personal loss. Why did you always see love as a gamble destined to be lost?
Love is a losing game. That song fell straight out of my heart. The reason I saw love as a gamble you're bound to lose is simple. Every time I sat at the table, I lost. Maybe I fell for the wrong men. Maybe I made love too big. Maybe I tried to heal my own wounds through other people. But here's the thing. Those losses gave me my songs. Out of pain came melody. So yes, love was a gamble, but every time I lost, music won. Maybe that's why people hear their own losses in those songs. I never really thought of love as a game. It was more like a fire. It burned, but you kept reaching in anyway. Because without feeling that heat, life just seemed empty. Even knowing I'd lose, I kept going back. Because for me, love was never something to win. It was something to live through and then to lose.
In rehab, when you sing "No, no, no," it almost sounds less like defiance and more like pleading. Looking back now, were you arguing with yourself or begging the system not to push you?
Rehab. Everyone heard it as an anthem of rebellion. No, no, no. But like you said, it was both protest and plea. It was to myself and to the system. I was telling myself, don't do this, Amy. Go, fix yourself. But at the same time, another voice inside me was screaming, no, I'm not ready yet. Don't force me. So those no's weren't just rejection. They were the echoes of a war inside me. And as for the system, people treated me like a project. Rehabilitation, they called it, but too often it was pressure, not compassion. When I said no, what I really meant was, see me as a person, not a case file. Looking back now, I see it clearly. Rehab wasn't just my cry, it was the cry of so many others. It sounded like rebellion, but it was really a call for help. And the irony is that song gave me worldwide fame, but the no inside me never fully turned into a yes.
In You Know I'm No Good, you look at yourself with brutal honesty. What did it cost you to be that honest with yourself?
You Know I'm No Good. That song was really the mirror I held up to myself. Before anyone else could judge me, I was already judging myself. Whatever I felt, whatever I messed up, I put it down. I was honest. I was ruthless. But the price of honesty was heavy. Because when you open your wounds, you bleed in front of everyone. People listened to my songs and said, it feels so real. But that reality came at the expense of my own life. My flaws, my addictions, my mistakes in love. I didn't hide them. They were all out there. And people knew me through my wounds. Maybe others would have worn a shinier, safer mask. I didn't. My honesty made me a legend, but that same honesty tore me apart. So, yes, You Know I'm No Good gave me authenticity, but it also made me pay the price for being real. My privacy, my peace, maybe even my life.
After your passing, Lioness, Hidden Treasures came out. On it, Our Day Will Come felt full of hope. In the middle of all that tragedy, what was your hope?
Our Day Will Come. Yeah, that song carried hope. Because no matter what, even at the very bottom, I always looked for a little light. Maybe it wasn't love itself, maybe it wasn't even my own life, but there was this small belief that one day I'd find peace. My hope was actually simple: to know I was loved, to touch people through music. Sometimes when hundreds of people sang with me all at once on stage, I thought, all right, Amy, you're still here for something. Despite all the tragedy inside me, there was always this. One day, maybe one day, I'd be calmer, more at peace. I'd laugh with the people I love and sing my songs just for joy. Our Day Will Come wasn't originally my song, but maybe it was the one that belonged to me the most. Because in all that darkness, there was still a little girl inside me who kept hoping.
Are you angry with your father to be staying with your boyfriends?
Anger. Yes, there was. At my father and at my boyfriends. Because sometimes I felt unloved, sometimes misunderstood, sometimes abandoned. My relationship with my father was complicated. One part of me loved him deeply, the other part was shouting, why didn't you protect me? My boyfriends, especially Blake, that relationship gave me both inspiration and wreckage. Love became so poisonous that I poured it into songs. Do I blame him? Yes, but I blamed myself too. Because I couldn't break free from that poison. There was anger, but never hatred. Because the more I was broken, the more I loved. Maybe my greatest curse was this: forgiveness, attachment, not being able to let go. So yes, I was angry. But more than anger, I felt hurt, and most of my songs were born out of that hurt.
Inside that fragility, there's also a mischievous side of you. Doesn't Me and Mr. Jones show that cheeky side?
Absolutely, yes. Me and Mr. Jones came from exactly that side of me. Not everything is pain, drama, tears. I always had a mischievous streak, a bit of a smart mouth, a bit of play. That song was basically saying, you did this to me, but I'll clap back. There were always two Alice in my music, one fragile, shattered Amy, and the other sharp, witty, able to turn pain into a clever line. Me and Mr. Jones is the voice of that second Amy. Sometimes humor is the best answer to pain. For me, that song was exactly that, putting a sassy woman next to the broken little girl inside me, letting people think, yes, it hurt, but she can still laugh.
What were the happiest memories on this short but glorious journey?
My happiest memories. When you think about it, they weren't on stage. They were backstage, laughing with friends, small moments with my family, like sharing a cup of tea with my mom. Simple things that meant the world to me. But there was something on stage too, when the audience voice blended with mine, when thousands of people sang my words like they were their own pain. In that moment, I didn't feel alone. That was true happiness for me. And in the studio, the thrill of recording a new song. In those minutes, it felt like all my wounds closed. Even even if only for a little while. When the track ended, the pain came back, but those few minutes, they felt like heaven. Yes, my happiest memories weren't big victories, but small breaths. A laugh, a note, getting lost inside a song. Those were Amy's brightest moments.
At the center of this great legend is you, but who were the people that truly made a positive difference along the way?
Yes, I was at the center, but I wasn't alone on this journey. There were people who genuinely lifted me, who lit the path for me. I have to mention Mark Ronson. Working with him, creating Back to Black, that was one of the most creative, productive periods of my life. He wasn't just a producer. He was someone who understood my voice, my soul. He knew how to take my songs and let them shine brighter. Then there were musicians from the soul scene, like Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. Their warmth, their authenticity gave me so much. Playing with them connected me back to my roots, to real music. And yes, in my family too, there were people who tried to keep me standing. As messy as everything was, my mom and my nan always reminded me of love. Maybe I got lost in the shadow of fame, but their touch gave me breath. Without them, maybe this legend would never have been written.
If you had the chance to make another album today, what spirit would you bring into it? What themes would you explore?
If I made another album today, its soul would still be real, but this time a little more grown. A little softer Amy would come through, because I always put my heart out there, but today, it would be with more acceptance, more peace, the themes, reconciliation with myself, with my mistakes, my scars, my past, hope. The kind that's born from little things, a laugh, a cup of coffee, a single note in a song, womanhood, my story, my experiences, the cost of independence, love. Of course, love would still be there, but not just the pain of loss, the songs of loving, of letting go, of acceptance, freedom, the urge to break my own chains both on stage and in life. In short, a new album would still carry pain, but it wouldn't be pain alone. There would be light in it too, because I'd want to be not only back to black, but also back to life.
So, in this song, there's rebirth and rising from the ashes. What does singing such a powerful comeback make you feel? Is this back to life state something you truly lived, or is it a hopeful dream you kept alive?
Back to life makes me feel two things at once. Something I actually lived and something I kept as a dream. I really did try again and again to rise from the ashes. Every time I stepped on stage, every time I wrote a new song, there was a little rebirth. In those moments, I truly felt back to life. But another part of me stayed wounded. So the song is also the voice of hope. Maybe not a thing I fully achieved, but a possibility I never stopped imagining. In that sense, Back to Life is as much a lived moment as it is a dream I refuse to let go of. What it gives me is this. While I tried to look strong, I was still fragile. And inside that fragility, there was light. I always fell, but a small voice inside me always whispered, "Come on, Amy, try again."
If you were to try again, knowing now the true faces of your father and your boyfriend, what would you never allow this time?
If I tried again, first, I wouldn't let anyone trample over my own heart. I wouldn't allow my father's love to feel conditional, and I wouldn't let a boyfriend drag me into his darkness. No more of that. I always put others first, trying to make them happy, to love them, to mend their wounds. I ignored my own. If I lived it again, the first no I'd say would be for myself. I wouldn't accept control disguised as love, dependency disguised as devotion, or being left alone under the name of family. If I went back, I wouldn't let my voice be silenced. My biggest loss was never being able to say yes to myself. This time I'd protect that.